Hey, what's up guys? It's LEGO Hobo 910 here with another LEGO video. And in this video, I'm reviewing set number 75218 X-Wing Starfighter. This is the most recent version of an X-Wing that LEGO has made. Obviously, since this is one of the most iconic vehicles and also kind of just a generic Rebel spaceship, they've made this before. Except the last time they made just a generic Rebel spaceship, Rebel X-Wing was in 2012. They have made a couple different Resistance X-Wings, but this is the first time in 6 years they've made just a normal X-Wing, which is quite a long time gap for something as iconic as this. And it looks excellent, so let's get right into the review. So here is the X-Wing, and something you may notice is there's an odd bump from a hinge here, but that's because they actually slanted it in slightly using hinges. And also, this X-Wing's design is just very sleek and well thought out. It's well built, and it just looks fantastic. It does have a decent bit of stickers. There's a couple on the front here, one on either engine, as well as a few on each wing. And in fact, they even gave us a few extras here, because here we have the red 5. As you can see, it has 5 red dashes, red 5 for Luke. But they also included a couple extra tiles for either wing. For when you switch out the driver to Biggs, you can change it to red 3. And also, something that you may have noticed is it's not exactly symmetrical in the coloration. As you can see, you have a yellow stud there, but not there. You have one there, but not there. The stickers there are different as well as there. It's all slightly different. And even if you look at just the sides here, you can notice some very subtle differences, which I think looks cool because the Rebels are supposed to be kind of like a ragtag band. And also, it adds some wearing and just makes it look cooler. And then we can open up the cockpit here. And inside you can fit one minifigure, of course. And there's also a little fire extinguisher in the back. And then it just reused one of those common printed consoles. It also has a couple stud shooters on either side, and it does include extra studs for those. And then in the back here, you have an area to put your astromech. And they slide out fairly nicely, as they are only attached with one jumper plate. And also, notice, you don't have to put them in sideways like this. In a lot of spaceships, you do. But they've made this wide enough so that way you can fit them in straight forward, so you don't have to turn around the head, and plus it's more accurate. And then moving back along the ship here, here's the engine designs, and they have a similar design on the front here to the U-Wing from Rogue One, using some of these ice axe pieces for some extra detailing, as well as this large circular piece. And then moving around to the back, you can see they use some of these barrels, as well as some tires, to create the engines, which then just have a little bit of kind of a transparent purpley pink cone there to create the flames coming out the end, or the plasma. And then on the back here, you can see the detailing for the back area. It uses some of these pieces slanted to give it that cool look and shape. And then it uses a couple revolver pieces as well as this kind of gun piece to add some additional detailing to the back. And something you may have noticed is there's some rubber bands here. And also, if you look in there, you'll see some rubber bands. And that's a fairly common thing for X-Wings, because if we raise it up, I'll show you what that does in just a second. First of all, the landing gear folds up. Then, those rubber bands are used for this mechanism. If you push the lever forward, it locks the S-foils into attack position, and then you can push it back to close them. Here's a better look at that mechanism. Oh, oops. Accidentally just shot off one. It's a super clean mechanism, and I guess it wants me to show you it has 4 spring-loaded shooters on near each blaster at the end of the wings, and those do fire off very easily. As you can see, they stick out a decent bit, so they're real easy to bump, and then they get launched off. But anyway, back to showing you the mechanism now that I've addressed what the LEGO set clearly wants me to show. If you push this forward, you can also fold down the landing gear and bring it in for a landing, and then they'll automatically close due to a little lever here on the bottom. See, if you push this down, it's resting right on that lever, so then when it gets pushed, it closes the wings. And you can use that to either just close it while you're mid-flight, or for when you land, it'll automatically close. It's just a very sleek, clean mechanism. Overall, this X-Wing looks really great. It is very detailed. It has a lot of great mechanisms, as well as many things for people to shoot off. And, oh, by the way, forgot to mention, it does include 2 extra shots for the spring-loaded shooters, as well as, I believe I said so earlier, but it includes a couple extra studs for the stud shooters. So now let's go look at the minifigure. This set comes with 4 minifigures, and first up we have our 2 Rebel pilots, Luke Skywalker on the left, and Biggs Darklighter on the right. Just a small complaint with the X-Wing is it doesn't come with a place to clip Luke's lightsaber on the outside. Like, they can sit comfortably in the cockpit with their pistols, but the lightsaber doesn't really fit in unless you take it apart and just lay it all over Luke's lap. But then they use the same torso piece and leg piece for their Rebel jumpsuits. And then they also have this new helmet that's been slightly controversial. Some people say it's really bad, others say it's really great. Personally, I think it's pretty good. I'm just going to pop off Big's helmet here so we can take a moment to look at kind of the new helmet design. The new helmet design has the visor built in. The old one didn't have the visor, so it just had to be printed on the face. It also was slightly smaller and didn't have as much detail there with the ridges, and I'm also pretty sure it didn't have the fin. So I say this is a major upgrade. This is a Big's helmet here. As you can see, it has the black and white checks on the top, as well as then the little designs on either side. And now let's look at Luke's helmet here, which is the exact same helmet piece, just with Luke's printing there. It has the Rebel sign on either side, with then the kind of caution tape look there, with then the red stripe going over the top. And then if we bring it around to the side, you can see the other designs there, with some more of the red and white and a bit of yellow. And that's the other side. And now let's go look at their faces. Here are their faces now that the helmets and visors are no longer covering them. Luke's face is fairly plain, and there's Big's, and we actually haven't gotten Big's in a set since I believe 1999 when the Star Wars line first came out. And if it wasn't 1999, it was like 2000, 2001 when they still had yellow faces. This is like basically the first ever Big's in a long, long time. And then if we bring it around to the other side, here are their alternate faces. Biggs is much more aggressive. Luke doesn't have as much of a change. As you can see, here he's slightly smiling, and there it's slightly aggressive. It's not as much of a change. And here's what their alternate faces look like with the helmets on. Here are their two astromechs. On the left, R2-D2, and on the right, R2-Q2. They use the same astromech pieces as always, and this is just a generic R2-D2 that you've probably seen before. And then R2-Q2 basically has the same printing, just in different coloration. Except also R2-Q2 uses lots of silver and dark grays, whereas R2-D2 is the white and silver with then bits of blue. So there are the two astromechs, and I believe this is the first R2-Q2. Do not quote me on that. It's either the first or the second. I think this may be the first one named R2-Q2. There might have been one before that was an astromech that was basically the same as this, except it wasn't named R2-Q2. It just didn't have a name. It was just generic astromech. But I believe this is the first officially named R2-Q2. That is the newest X-Wing, and personally, I think this is an excellent set. First of all, it looks fantastic. Second of all, it includes some great minifigures, including one that's only the second time this minifigure's been made, and the first time was a long time ago, and another that I believe is the first time, maybe the second. And then it also just looks fantastic, as well as having great mechanisms to lock the S-foils into attack position, as well as plenty of things to shoot off. And then also small little things, like including extra tiles to change the call sign of the ship, is just fantastic. Overall, I really love this set. That's all, and peace.